All right, so today we're going to look at what's called X factoring. Okay, so we've looked at GCF. That's a particular type of factoring in a certain circumstance. But we're going to be looking at factoring these quadratic trinomials coming up. So we need to know how to X factor. Okay, it's actually a shortcut way. The long way is so much harder. So this is actually just, it's kind of a gimmick that allows us to X factor quite fast. Okay, so today we're going to learn how to fill out the X when X factoring. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're going to use this X when filling it out when we end up factoring quadratics. So this is going to be useful. So, this is actually really, really important for the next 2 units. Okay, the next 2 units we'll be doing this. Okay, so given a filled out X, we will be able to find the 2 numbers needed to make it work. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So the X factor looks like this. So today I'm going to give you these 2 numbers. Okay, as we move on, you guys will fill out these 2 numbers and then find the 2 numbers that make this true. So these 2 numbers on the side here are going to be 2 numbers that will multiply to get this top number, and they add to get this bottom number. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. So let's say we're given 8 and 6. Okay, so what we want is we want 2 numbers that multiply to 8, but those 2 numbers also need to add to 6. Okay, so what I do is I just think of multiples of 8. So multiples of 8, I've got 4 times 2, and I've got 8 times 1. Those are the 2 numbers that multiply to 8. So either of these numbers, if you add or subtract them, any of these sets of numbers, would they add to 6, add or subtract to 6? Well, 4 plus 2 is 6. So, there it is right there. So the 2 numbers are 4 and 2. Okay, let's look at 16. So we've got 16 and 10. So let's think of numbers that multiply to 16. There's a couple of them. So there's 4 and 4. There's 8 and 2. And there's 16 and 1. Now, can any of these numbers add or subtract to get to 10? Well, 4 and 4 make 8. If I subtract, I get 0. 8 plus 2. Oh, 8 plus 2 is 10. So there it is, 8 and 2. Now, it doesn't matter which side these are on. This could be 2 and this could be 8. It just matters that you have those 2 numbers written on the sides. It doesn't matter which order, okay? So don't worry about that. Okay, now we have a negative here. So that actually adds another element to it. So it makes it a little bit more challenging, okay? So let's see here. We want 16. So let's use these same numbers here to get for 16. Now remember I said add or subtract. 4 plus 4 is 8. 4 minus 4 is 0. 8 plus 2 is 10. 8 minus 2 is 6. Hey, there's a 6. So I need a negative 6. So if I make that a negative 8 plus 2, that will give me the negative 6 that I'm looking for. So negative 8 and 2, now let's check it. Negative 8 times 2 makes negative 16. Negative 8 plus 2 gives me negative 6. All right, let's try 24. Now there's several numbers that multiply to 24. First ones I think about are 6 and 4. Then we've got 8 and 3. Then we've got 12 and 2. And we've got 24 and 1. Now let's see, add or subtract to get 11. Don't worry about the negative right now. So 6 plus 4 is 10. If I subtract, I get 2. 8 plus 3 is 11. Hey, I need it to be negative 11. Oh, if I make negative 8 and negative 3, they multiply to a positive and they add to a bigger negative of negative 11. So negative 8 plus negative 3 is negative 11. And then if I multiply the 2, I end up with positive 24. Okay, so let's check this one out. So with 9, all I have are 3 times 3 or 9 times 1. And I want to get an 8. So if I take 9 and subtract 1, I get 8. So if I make it 9 times negative 1, 9 plus negative 1 is 8. And if I multiply them, I do get negative 9. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look again. So 15, I've got 3 and 5, and 15 and 1. Okay, and I want them to be a 2. Well, 3 plus 5 is 8, but 5 minus 3 is 2. So if I make it 5 and negative 3, I can get that 2 that I'm looking for. And 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Perfect. Okay, 18's got a few of them, a few partners. So 3 times 6, I don't know why it does that. So 3 and 6, 9 and 2, and then 18 and 1. And I need to get a 9. Hey, if you add 3 and 6, you get a 9. But I want it to be negative 9. So how can we get 3 and 6 to add to negative 9 and multiply to 18? Oh, if I make them both negative. Because negative 3 and negative 6 just makes a bigger negative, which is negative 9. And then negative 3 times negative 6 makes it a positive 18. And again, we don't care which side the numbers are on. These can flip-flop. All right, let's check some more examples here. Oh, but first we got ourselves a funny. So we've got this equal sign saying, uh-oh, don't look now, but here comes your X. All right, so more examples here. We've got negative 16 and 0. Well, 16, we've got 4 and 4, 8 and 2, 16 and 1. If I add 4 and 4, I get 8, but if I subtract 4 and 4, I get 0. So that means that's got to be it. 4 and negative 4. Yeah. If I multiply those, I get negative 16. If I add them, I get 0. Okay, let's think about negative 20. So let's see. I think of 10 times 2 when I think of 20. Don't worry about the negative right now. We'll deal with it once we write these down. We've got 5 and 4, and 20 and 1. So I need numbers that give me 1. If I add, I get 12. If I subtract, I get 8. Not that one. If I add, I get 9. If I subtract, I get 1. Hey, but I need it to be a negative 1. Oh, if I make it negative 5 plus 4. There we go. Because negative 5 is 1 bigger, or 5 is 1 bigger than 4. So when you do the negative, it becomes negative 1. And then you multiply a negative times a positive. It's a negative. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay. So 20, again, let's use these same numbers. Can you think C2 numbers here that can give us a 12? Okay, and it looks like 10 and 2, but I need it to be negative 12, and I need to be positive. Well, 2 positive numbers multiply to a positive, and 2 negative numbers multiply to a positive. So if I make them both negative, I can add them and get a negative 12. Perfect. So negative 10 and negative 2. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and try these. Pause the video and take an attempt. Don't just wait for me, because you should need to try it on your own. Right or wrong, no big deal. Just erase and put the correct answers in if you're wrong. Okay, so we're looking at 40. I don't know, 8, 5, 20 times 2, and then 40 times 1. And I need to make it a 3. Okay, so 8 minus 5 is 3. And to get a negative, I need one negative and one positive. Okay, so ahead of time, you kind of know. So all of these are going to have one negative and one positive because they're all negative here. So like here, one negative and one positive on both of these. But this one has two options. It's either two positives or two negatives, because that when you multiply, you get a positive. So if I make this 8 and negative 5, that will work. Okay, so think about 24, and to make 10. I mean, this is actually a hard one. This one's the hardest one because it seems like there's two options that'll work. Because you look at 6 times 4, but also there's a 12 times 2. Because 6 plus 4 is 10, and 12 minus 2 is 10. So that's a challenge one right there. Now, if I make them both negative, I would get negative 10, but then that would give me positive 24. Now, if I make this one negative and this one positive, then that would give me negative 10 and negative 24. So it's actually going to be negative 12 and 2. Okay, that's a tough one. Okay, and then this one here, I think 6 and 2, right? And if you do 6 and negative 2, 6 minus 2 is 4. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Okay? So there you have it. Thanks for watching.